Now, vendor master record, since we have three types of vendors, we're going to use the central vendor here because that's the most commonly used, and also because the central vendor has all the three types of data. So to create a central vendor, we use the transaction code XK01. Accounting vendor, transaction code is FK01. Purchasing vendor is MK01. And in fact, all the transactions that we now are about to carry out for a central vendor can also be carried out for an accounting vendor or purchasing vendor, except the first character changes for the transaction code. So let's see how to create the vendor master record. Go to the transaction code XK01. The first field you see is the vendor number. Leave it blank for internal assignment. Enter the company code. Enter the purchasing organization and the account group that we just created. So check the company code that we just created. If you still have some doubt, scroll down. So press enter to open the vendor master creation pages. Now there's two basic differences between the way material master record is created and the vendor master is created in the SAP system. The first thing is when we enter the company code, the initial information, and press enter, in the material master, we get the view selection screen where you're going to select the views for which the data will be maintained. And based on the views selected, the material can be used in those departments. In the vendor master, based on the transaction code or the type of vendor created, the screens are already defined. The second major difference is in the material master, as soon as we get the view selection screen, the the application will automatically reserve a number for creating that material. And from the time the view selection screen is displayed till the end before you click on save, if at any point of time you cancel that creation, the number which is reserved will be lost. Okay, the next time you create a material master, system will show you a new number. In the vendor master, the system will not allocate or reserve any number beforehand. In fact, after all the data is entered and we click on save, that is when the system is going to assign a number for the vendor master. Alright, so let's see how to create what is the minimum data required. The first screen you see is the address screen where the name, address, and communication details are going to be maintained. So for your practice, I'm just going to enter some standard information. Again, here also only 4 fields data is mandatory, which is title, name, country, and language. So press enter will take you to the next screen, which is control screen. Here you can enter the tax identific IDs and the VAT registration number, type of business, the recipient's address for tax calculation, and all those things. Along with that, there are two interesting fields here. One is the industry, other is the customer. Industry is used to specify the vendor specialization. That is, if this vendor is going to supply a specific type of material or provide a specific type of service, that can be specified using this industry field. So if the vendor is a transporter, then you can use this field to indicate that it is transport related. Or if the vendor is a building contractor, then you can use this to indicate that it is a building contractor. Or if he's a consultant for software, services, consumer goods, based on the type of services or the nature of the type of material provided by the supplied by the vendor, you can specify. If the industry field is left blank, then it indicates that the vendor supplies multiple types of material. Customer field is used to indicate that this the material purchased from this vendor is going to be supplied to a specific customer of the company. So if that is the case, then the customer field will be used to identify the customer. Press enter and it takes you to the next screen, which is payment transactions. Here you're going to maintain the bank account details for this vendor. The last screen in the general data is the contact person screen, where you can enter the people that you need to contact in the vendor company relating to any supply or status of any transaction with your company. The next screen is the accounting information. This is the first of the company code data. There are two interesting fields here, reconciliation account and cash management group. Reconciliation account is a type of general ledger account or uh, an accounts related element which is used for maintaining the value of all the transactions carried out with the vendor within this company code. So the standard reconciliation account in the practice system is 160000, and the cash management group is used to identify the person or group of persons who are responsible for all vendor related payments within the company code. So again, the standard cash management group here will be A1. So if you want to specify any withholding tax, exemption number, the country, or any interest calculation, you can also maintain it in this screen. But for your practice, only these two fields data is sufficient. The next screen is payment transactions, again part of the company code data. So here we're going to maintain the payment related information for processing payment for this vendor within this company code. Payment terms identifies the method, not the method rather, the payment process carried out with this particular vendor, that is in how many days the vendor payment will be processed, whether it is a single time payment in those number of days, or whether the vendor is offering any cash discount, or whether the payment is being carried out in installments. So all this information will be maintained in the payment terms for the entire company code. So for example, if the payment will be processed within at the end of month, which all the invoices received till end of month from the vendor will be paid immediately on at the end of the month, or you can pay in up to 15 days, 15% discount, or you can pay net in 30 days or net in 60 days, or payment payable due immediately. So like this, based on the negotiation had with the vendor, different payment terms can be used under different conditions. For now, just select any one payment terms, any of the payment terms here. Check cashing time is another interesting field which is used to indicate the time the vendor has to wait to encash the check. Usually the checks are uh, made out on the current date, but even though it is current date check, the vendor may be requested to wait for a certain time before they can encash the check. So if that is the case, then this check cashing time will be used to indicate that time. Payment methods is another interesting field which is used to identify how the payment will be processed to the vendor. That is, whether it's going to be cash payment, check payment, or bank transfer, or foreign bank transfer, or any other method. This type, the payment methods is dependent on the country in which the company code exists, and this is the only field in the SAP system which will accept all the options available. Usually, whenever you have any options, we can only select one of the options. But here, even if I have 10 options, then all the 10 options I can select. Okay, so that's one interesting thing about the payment methods field. The last interesting field here is about prepayment. In case the vendor requires any advance payment, any prepayment along with the order or at the time of goods receipt, that prepayment can be specified here. So again, these fields will be maintained based on the negotiation had with the vendor.